Aloha, my amplifying your abundance, beautiful, bountiful beings. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Sunday Musings. I've just started beginning, just sharing a little off the cuff intel, just life experiences and energy and little tips that are kind of being shown to me or insights I've been having. Um, wow, technology is still not my forte. And it really triggers me. I've been trying to get on here for the last 10 minutes. And anyway, I hope the quality is okay. I'm getting all of these pop ups saying the speed is too low and I'd like to have good integrity of sound and vision. Um, yeah, but I truly can feel like tapping. I don't know what your edge is, if it's when you're driving and people are going too slow, or what are the things that always happen to you. And I've been trying to solve this technology thing. I have the weirdest glitches that other people don't have, and I can be in the great mood, but this can get me from 0 to 100, and I almost have tears, like onset of tears every time. And it's amazing I haven't broken my laptop intentionally and thrown it in the river. So I'm going to take a deep breath. So I hope you guys are doing well on this beautiful weekend. And yeah, my intention is really just to share for 5 or 10 minutes. If anyone shows up, has any comments or questions, or he'd like to share what's been triggered for you by reading some of the inquiry, or having some new insights or ahas about some of the patterns or conditioning, or early mimicking that you've done in your family of origin. And also, I wanted to mention about, I know that I referred to the father side, and for those of us who didn't have fathers, then use whoever the dominant male caregiver was in your family, or who you were around or had impressions by. Because usually the masculine who's making the money is holding the power, and we tend to give more respect to the person holding the power versus the one who's actually there nurturing. So, yeah, it's an interesting topic around provision and being provided for versus, trying to find your own place of prosperity and abundance. And again, it means a lot of different things on many levels. So, what I wanted to open this week with, I make vibrational flower essences, and sometimes it's few and far between when a new plant or flower speaks to me and gets my attention, and it's usually just the most beautiful divine timing. And so this week or this month, the flower that is wanting to be with us is the primrose. Now, some of you might have used primrose oil for, regulating PMS, and, it's very good for women. And so the primrose is interesting because it blooms at night, and it's all around my garden where I live right now, and it's just so beautiful, yellow, and it has like the purest scent, like almost like the baby of love, like this fresh, tender scent, and with little pollen on it. So at night when you smell it, the pollen gets all over your nose. And so I wanted to just read to you a little bit about the profundity of the primrose. And I feel like this content that it represents is about whatever trauma or ability to bond that we had in our mother's womb and our birth. So it's all about original trauma, which translates to inherent worthiness. How after we were born, what stress were our parents under? What were the conditions? Was there lack? Was there not enough? Was there not enough care? Was there neglect? So it really has like a fundamental impact on the beliefs of our worthiness. So I made a night flower essence on the new moon in Cancer last week, and I've been partaking in the essence, and wow, it's definitely not for the faint of heart. Some flower essences you really actually experience almost like a reaction toward it, where I felt like a lot of old grief come up, and also the anger of the child that's not getting its needs met. So, just gonna read you a little tidbit about mimosa. Sorry, I always say mimosa. It's primrose. So, this bridge from the moon to the sun is a core alchemy also experienced by the incarnating human soul. Our first 9 months of incarnation are in the mother's womb, a fluid moon sphere, wherein the incoming cosmic soul first begins to gently feel, within the loving embrace of the protective moon womb, its experience of becoming human on earth. However, if there is severe emotional and physical trauma at this time, especially the intense radiation of being rejected or unwelcome, like being a surprise pregnancy, an unconscious negative residue remains in the soul and impacts the body. Such individuals typically have an aversion to human warmth and the ability to form social bonds with others. It is as though the day radiant warmth of the sun is hindered and the individual is still holding back, attempting to heal its moon sojourn in the womb. Primrose is for those who have trouble receiving the good in life because of negative emotions, guilt, self-sabotage, or sense of unworthiness, etc. Things like love and friendships don't just happen. You have to be open to them and believe they're your right. Primrose can reach back to your childhood where your sense of self-worth was shaped and help you let go of ideas that indicate you aren't deserving. As a flower essence, it gently reminds us to bring forth our inner light, to clear out the dark corners we've been hiding from, the parts of ourselves that we no longer need but have grown comfortable with, but no longer serve us. It opens the ability to form deep, lasting relationships by dealing with issues of rejection, fear of commitment, and parenthood, and difficulties dealing with sexual and emotional feelings. It promotes healing of early childhood trauma and helps users develop greater emotional intimacy with others. Being unwanted can lead to lifelong episodes of depression, self-destructiveness, or aggression. Being born out of wedlock in a time or community where that was not acceptable can mean you carry shame or guilt manifesting as character patterns of self-righteousness, self-ridicule, masochism, and hostility. Adoption trauma has its own broad range, but common in utero events are thoughts of abortion, abortion plans with no follow-through, and direct attempts on life. Because these issues are lifelong things, evening primrose and other appropriate essences would need to be taken long term. A good rule of thumb is 1 month for every year you've been alive. Whoa. Primrose has a long history in folklore relating to fertility, rebirth, and renewal. It is said that if you look at the petals of a primrose bloom, you can see the fairies. Primrose evokes the story of the three goddesses. The true origins of the Trinity represented the maiden, the mother, and the crone. This was the story that described the changing seasons of Mother Nature and rebirth and creation. Medicinally, primrose is very beneficial for reproduction health and fertility. Ruled by Venus, it supports our creativity and inspiration, giving us self-love. And that information is via Primrose Apothecary site and Freedom Flowers. So yeah, I hope any of that springs to mind anything of your history, herstory of your place of origin. And yeah, I love that it is about self-love and talks about addressing the issues of those emotions, since that's what we're doing. That's why we're here with EFT, is really honoring and leaning into these emotions of, anything that is less than abundant. And so that's why this work deeply, deeply touches those shadow areas of our earliest beliefs about ourselves and our story of origin. So I thought that this is a beautiful way to accompany and hold us with this beautiful essence. I'll be posting pictures, and if you want to get an essence from me, I'm not sharing this so that you will, but they're $15 a bottle and $5 shipping and handling, so it'd be about 20 bucks. But that's not my point here. Just want to share, just, making that connection with this content, because that's how the universe is always speaking to us. And to me, it speaks through nature and flowers. So I wanted to share that. And yeah, it definitely brought up a lot for me, because I've currently been, connecting with my beliefs about intimacy and really, I'm a loyal Leo. I like to go deep. I like to have fun and go on amazing adventures. And, this last decade has been more trying in my life, of feeling like that I belong, or that anyone is curious about me or wants to even connect. And so I've just been walking, around my own sense of how far I've gone into my own cave, and I'm afraid to emerge. And so I've been getting more affirmations around the sense of selfishness that we have because of our wounds, how, that we hide our gifts when we have kind of the selfishness of like fear of judgment, fear of putting ourselves out there, fear of rejection, because of these deep original wounds. So it's been kind of a tender place for me to feel like how strong I've been, how much I've overcome, how resilient I am, and how I don't need anybody. And so that kind of, makes us our own island, which, independence and sovereignty is kind of the healthy aspect. And yet, as humans in our humanity, we really need to be open to connection, to interdependence, to being available. So, so there's been these patterns I've just been looking at of how to find balance of sharing yourself. Like, isn't it a bit selfish to be so identified with our fear and our unworthiness that we're not actually truly connecting and like actually accepting our own selves and the gifts? And even if we're not perfect enough, we're never going to be perfect. We can't wait for perfection. But just to share who you are now, or share your gifts now, because someone might resonate, and I feel like there's this essence right now, or symbol, that's like the stairway to heaven, of like us creating heaven on earth is just solely up to us. And we can only just take like the next step up. Like if we're wanting to get out of our cave and out of our sense of inherent lack and scarcity, it's just like having the courage to be selfless in a way that we're willing to show ourselves, willing to take another step out and go, look at me now, am I going to survive? Like the child that's just learning to walk and try new things. And really stepping into that faith of like, oh, the universe or source is going to pick us back up. Our ancestors are here supporting us. There's a way we're going to get back up if we fall down. And if we do get rejected, like finding ways to not take it personal. If the roles are reversed, we're constantly editing. We're going to resonate with one thing or another, but we're not like, it's just not personal. We're not hating someone because we're not, responding to them. So really finding a place where it's just not so personal when we feel so rejected. And of course, it gets personal when it is about family and things like that, where you have the direct evidence that you may not be included, but it's because they're the characters, cast in this lifetime to be your triggers, to stand in your worthiness, to stand in your independence. The ones that we want the most approval from are our teachers to strengthen us. How can we send self-love, or just, speak to their soul and not be part of the ego fight, not feeding, adding fuel to the fire, but actually, being the phoenix and the flame and rising above that. So anyway, it's a lot that's just kind of coming through right now, but I hope that makes sense. I made a few notes. So, yeah, I guess to finish off the thought of selfishness is like just acknowledge that even the people are always watching and listening. I mean, you're here because of social media, and I've had my love hate with it, but what if we use it for good? What if we use it just to be consistent with promoting the things that we stand for or believe in, but not for divisiveness, but just for support for those who actually, want to feel that resonance that there's more out there like them so they don't feel so alone. And lately, I've been experiencing, it's not even that scary to put yourself out there, and just, I believe in beauty, sharing beauty. How are you going to argue or fight about that? Some people are going to like it, some are not, you know and I'm feeling like, oh, I'm surviving sharing the beauty that I want to share. There's not just one person liking it, there's 20 liking it, and just following the energy of just feeling safe and sharing your gifts. And just acknowledge, it's again that stairway to heaven, just to acknowledge, oh, even if it's just your mom and your best friend liking your things or buying your product or whatever, just being grateful that it's resonating with someone, that you have medicine for someone. And even if people aren't responding, it doesn't mean they're not seeing it. They're going to see you as that person who believes in that, and they're going to remember it, and they're going to either be inspired or not. Some of the people I follow on YouTube or Instagram, they'll never know I exist. I don't ever write them. I don't ever comment, and they're consistently, like Prince, he doesn't even exist anymore, but yet he still brings me so much inspiration and so much profound messages. So I'm just saying, be who you are. There are people are noticing you, family are noticing you. um, so anyway, I just want to send out my gratitude that you all are here and that I happen to know you all personally who've showed up. And I really do love this course because I'm always asked to step up myself in my own life. And so, one of the main messages right now that I'm getting is really about the being present. I know that's a lot of our goals, is to that the only thing that's real is the here and now. And, we can read about it and be inspired by that concept all day long, but there's really something to be said by slowing down, being present, letting go, and just taking the next right action. But us, since we're mostly feminine in this group right now, it's really our duty energetically on the planet to come to a space in our creator power in our womb and allow ourselves to be in our heart and really step into this relaxation. If we've had to compete in this male dominated push push go go western civilization, but yet we're actually contributing much more when we rest, when we relax, when we feel that pain and hurt in our heart and let it go, lean into the tears, acknowledge the grief, let it go. It's other people around us, we're sponges and we're going to hold that thing that may not belong to us, but we feel it. And so, for us to tap more into our inherent bounty and be able to receive, we're also going to have to empty out. And we do that by being present, what's real. If we're being, guided by the lack and having to work, perform, accomplish, that I'm very identified with my Germanic background, is that, we're not actually being present because it's like the emotional blackmail of and the lie of productivity or accomplishment. And when we get to rest and get to be inspired, or maybe just let go and do art or cook something nurturing, we become more resourceful, and then we become more resilient to access, again, what we have to offer, which is like the figure eight of the universe, the balance of giving and receiving. So, if we have families or we're the providers and the caretakers, it's often we are really in the give role, and it wears us out. So the balance of like the reciprocity of life, then we have to give ourselves the reciprocity of self-care, of unplugging, of not putting others first. How much are we bound to our text and responding to others so that they'll love us in time. But I have to wait till my body is ready, and when there's flow, and when it's the right timing. And then it's the right timing, because people pleasing, that's a thing of the past right now, because we're not honoring ourselves, we're depleting ourselves, and we're doing it for what the other thinks instead of what's authentic for us to respond to. So I always make sure, for the most part, that I respond when I am authentically present and have it to give, and not out of an automatic, knee jerk, this is how we always do it, or that I'm going to feel better after. Maybe you'll feel better after, but when you're always putting others first, you don't even know what you need or what you want. And that's really a challenge for those of us who are caretakers. So I hope that is resonating a little bit for you, because the whole key to abundance is you have to be open to receive it, and have to be like in a grounded place in our root, to be like, I call it the golden chalice. My arms are too long to fit, but standing up, and standing in an X with the legs equally out in the ground, with the hands open V, of like, can I be in my masculine and feminine equally grounded, and say, yes, universe, I'm open to receive. And sometimes, receiving abundance means people actually canceling on you, or maybe not following through, and suddenly you have this open space. And instead of experiencing like a lack or a loss, finding the channel that you're flowing like water, of like, oh wow, this space just opened up, and this space is for me. It's actually a gift. Like, what if everything is for you instead of against you? Just, I'm inviting you to even, reframe things that are happening, not as like, oh, this always happens to me, that this is actually for you. And I guess some of you have probably gotten there too, that when things get canceled, you might even feel a relief, because you have like, oh, it's extra time, or surprised unstructured time. But just, all in all, when things don't work out, really to trust like that energy is not for you. If you're staying in your own integrity, and then people fall out of your life, just not taking it personally, and knowing like you have nothing to prove. The right people will show up who are meant to be in your life, whether this is business or friendship. So yeah, the visual that I like for that being open to receive is the dancing Buddha. If you've seen the statue of the Buddha who has his eyes closed, his arms are kind of like this, open to receive, and his belly is full. He's just like, if I find an image, I'll post it. His belly is just like falling out of his shirt, because he's full, he's fed. Like in Eastern cultures, like in India, like a fat man with a big belly is considered rich. He's considered the richest because his belly is full with everything he wants. So it's like the laughing Buddha with the full belly is because he's completely provided for. He's completely satiated. And like his eyes closed, it's like he's not looking for something. He knows in his fullness that he's just open to receive. It's kind of like he's smiling because he's already so happy. And it's like, thank you, more, please. More is coming from the heavens. So if you want to make that like, is it called a sutra? What's that word? Anyway, like a mudra, an actual yogic pose in the morning, make up your own thing, sing your favorite song. I love my theme song for this course is Anything Can Happen by Ellie Goulding. Anything can happen. anything can happen. Like bring in your song that means abundance to you and really bring it to your body because, like I was saying about the primrose, we're dealing with stuff that's in our body from birth. That's what and our mind is trying to always analyze these feelings or numb the feelings and, you know, um, trying to get away from them. And that's why we do the tapping here, because we want to identify and welcome this resistance and welcome the negative beliefs so that we can expose them and release them. And that's why I call it changing your mind and your body. So really bring ways to embody yourself in a new paradigm of belonging, of wealth, of fullness, of you have everything you need, and my little check in these days is um, just in the moment, if I'm starting to worry about, oh my God, where am I going to live in October? Do I really need to know that now? I have a great place to live until October, and I'll know then when it comes, and everything is actually great. And so my check in is wherever you're sitting right now, just looking. Do you have everything you need? Oh, I've just eaten. I just had the best morning coffee. I have spring water to drink. I see beautiful light out there. I lean back. I see the view of Mount Shasta. I have my brand new laptop sitting in front of me. I've got my beautiful uh, crystal that's actually a yellow fluorite, and I love it so much. It reminds me of my solar plexus and helps my Leo self. I have not only one but two pair of reading glasses right in my hand. I've got my other device here. Okay, you get the point. It's just like when we actually come to the present, recognize, do I have everything I need right now? Okay, so do I need to worry about October or tomorrow or tonight? Take a deep breath and be grateful for what you have right now. So that's a little trick there that I like to use. And also, going out into nature and really looking around how nature is always mirroring, like perfection, the flowers coming out and just the perfection of them in this like spring, summer of just blooming unapologetically. Like these are all mirrors of ourselves, trees bearing fruit and gifting the fruit that they have so beautifully with non attachment, unconditionality. Where are we giving unconditional love? Where are we staying selfish and it's tit for tat, Give what you want to receive, and not to impress people or prove something, but sometimes when we kind of want to hold on tighter to something, we're not in flow. Then it's kind of like, this is my last, piece of fruit, but I'm full right now. Let me give it to this person because I want them to experience what I experienced, and just seeing people as another you. So, there's a fine line of taking care of yourself and providing the nice things for yourself, but when we have excess, how can we share it? So that stays, keeping the flow of giving and receiving. Trust that whatever you give will return and maybe multifold. And being in the awe of nature, of how perfectly abundant nature is, and that it is a reflection of ourselves. Like lately, I've just been noticing the light and the colors. Like maybe it's just the nature of the summer vibe, but it's like the light has been so beautiful. I'm seeing every kind of green tone new and differently, and the green against the blue sky, and just being nourished by the perfection and beauty and awe. Are you feeling yourself becoming more you, more unapologetically you, and showing curiosity to that, you know? Um, so as far as like being in nature goes, I just highly recommend you taking your shoes off. Where are the nature places you're walking? Can you take a next step and actually, even if your feet hurt, go to a place where it's soft, walk on grass, get your feet connected to the earth. That's really going to help you during this process. Um, So let's see, I'm looking at my notes. Yeah, now that it's summer, can you go in the water where you are? You like take that swim and use every time as like your own baptism, whether it's the ocean, lakes, rivers, a bath, like really using it to love yourself, to be rewomb yourself and to cleanse the old. Really every every day is like your own church, you're your own you're your own priestess, and listen, what does source want to share with you? Listen to your heart, honor your grief, honor your pain. It's all welcome here. And then use nature to help assist you. That's free. That's the abundance, that really there is so much free in life. Our breath, the scents of the flowers. Pick yourself a beautiful bouquet in your environment and put it next to your bed. Surround yourself with beauty of the things that make you feel good. I'll probably introduce some feng shui, like how can you invest more in yourself when you're feeling like you don't have enough or you don't know where things are going. Then organize your environment, restructure things, so instead of going, oh, I hate how that looks, I hate how that looks, change it. Put something beautiful there. Like put some new things on your desk screensaver on your phone and on your laptop. Like see new things, make a vision board of the things you want to feel and see more. It's about how we're reacting and responding to things. You're in control of your environment, of your clothing. What makes you feel good? Is it too tight? And wear looser clothes, or pick the materials, or pick the colors that make you feel better. These are all the free things we have access to and power over to control how it makes us feel in our environment. And with that, it's like, oh, I feel so luxurious. Thank you, more, please. And when you're in the thank you, more, please, that's why we do the gratitude things, is you're just like beckoning the universe for more. And, I like the thought of like, we always think that there is two choices. Am I going to go right or left? Black and white, right and wrong, fear of making the wrong decision. But if we really find a place in ourselves that's the faith, the place of faith, there's usually a third way that we just can't make up yet. So it's more like feeling the results, like the boon spending, the results of the, oh my God, I can't believe it bent. Like, I can't believe this is the thing, the solution that came in that I couldn't even think about. So really being in the gratitude and the delight of like whatever came. We don't keep like writing Santa a letter every day of what we want. No, we write them once and then we let go. And then we just are content with what we have and then become our own Santa, our own like giver of gifts. So yeah, I just had a lot of other thoughts that are escaping me right now. But I hope that this is just a little bit of an inspiration and tune up to really start connecting and working with your body and in your immediate environment of what you have control over, to start creating some openings to flow and abundance in ways that are meaningful for you, because we all have different values of what things represent. And stepping away from those things that trigger us and make us go inside again and retract. What are those wounds? And for me, I'm still navigating the technology thing. And then I just try to be grateful for the things that do work. But then when I feel like an instant victim of being abandoned and rejected by technology, like I've been on Facebook for what, 12 years or something, and I still, like, I couldn't find the live video thing for the life of me. Like, what is going on? Like, I'm making myself wrong and feeling like a victim. But just slowing down and taking a deep breath, and then the solution came. It's finding our places of resistance and what we make it mean. So, yeah, I just wanted to share lastly, this is kind of funny, but I was on the top of Mount Shasta last week and enjoying the view. on the top, meaning as far as you can drive. And I closed my eyes, and I suddenly had like this vision of like this beautiful red, and like as if it was like fresh blood, like the blood of like a newborn baby, like literally traveling the arteries. And then it's like I just felt into this beautiful pink rose energy of Mother Mary, and I just like let myself feel that color. And then I like just felt all this white light around the that red rose color. And then I like in my vision I looked around the corner of this white light. And I mean, I didn't grow up religious, but I do love Jesus and Mary. They're not really in my field. I'm more Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene oriented. Um, but I like looked around the corner and I saw Jesus all in white, like almost like this beautiful white statue, like maybe alabaster, like just this white, picture perfect Jesus. And I mean like stone, not from race, but just like the essence of purity. And I just saw him like holding, dancing. He was dancing with Mary, and I couldn't see her. I just saw his smile and how he was just, it was kind of like behind the scenes of Jesus, and he was just fully with her, and he was dancing with her and holding her. And I just saw his face, and he was just right fully there, like that's where he wanted to be. And it was just like the surprise glimpse that I the mountain gave me, and I'm just trying to like lean into that essence of like our inner holy masculine, like how can we dive into that masculine part of ourselves that is like the achiever, the protector, the provider, that part of us that makes, is the drive for us to survive. um, what if that masculine part of us can be just like engaged in the dance and the harmony of our masculine and feminine, and that's something we want to lean into in this course of like really coming into balance, than being out of balance, to really be in the balance and in that creating that abundance through our own balance. So don't know if that visual will bring any, bring a smile into your heart. But I'm really grateful for that experience. And just, even the color of that pink rose red, that's just life. We're here for such a short time, like feeling into your own life blood and your lineage and all the ancestors that are here to assist you that have gone through hardships before. But we're in this like new time where we get to be like the change. We're like the arrowhead in the whole trajectory of our lineage, and we're the ones alive right now making the choice of going from pain to pleasure. How can we release and resolve our pain codes and come more into the dance and be a participant in the dance, out of the victimhood and from oppression, and like just becoming like the embodiment of the abundance of life. And so yeah, it's our birthright, in our blood, to be in the joy and awe and magic of life. And that primrose energy of just like allowing to heal the trauma of not belonging or not being loved enough or being unworthy of love, of like when we were in the womb, unless you were twins, we were alone in this dark place. We didn't know there's a mother, but we were just alone in this like wholeness and fullness. And it was like someone's holding us, and then once we're born, we're actually being held for the first 1 or 2 years. We are so vulnerable and having to be put to bed, having to be fed, having to be nourished, and hopefully we were held, and a lot of us have that desire for companionship because it's still like the pain and wound of neglect of not getting enough, like I don't feel like I've had the affection that I've wanted in my whole life, like not enough of it. um, so how can we go into that sense of being in the womb and really trusting we are being provided for, we are being nourished, And what is our current form now at any age, walking around as a human, that on some level we're still being carried and held and nourished. So anyway, my musings end up going on way longer than anticipated. I hope that you get a chance to do the homework, share it in the group with us. It actually helps other people. Again, people will read it even if they don't say anything. It means a lot, showing your own vulnerability, your own path. And do the tapping and let me know if you have any questions under here or share under here. I'm giving a big aloha, and tomorrow, Monday, I'm going to be sending out inquiry week 2. Lots of love and aloha from Shasta. Get into your mudra. What's your mudra if you want to share it that reminds you of being open for abundance? The universe wants to know, are you open to receive?